All right, yo, check this out. I'm gonna show you guys how to make these amazing crispy potato hash browns without using any oil. All right, so welcome back to another video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I am excited about this one. I love breakfast, I love potatoes. I can't wait to show you this recipe. So I don't know about you guys, but when I have time, it's usually on the weekends, I absolutely love to make like a nice big breakfast fry up with all the fixins, you know, some tofu scramble, got some sauteed kale, maybe even some tempeh bacon, and of course you have to have the nice and crispy hash browns. However, if you've ever tried to just like grate potatoes and then cook them like that, you know that you just get like this kind of soggy mess. It definitely doesn't turn into nice, light, crispy hash browns. And it actually is possible without oil, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do that right here. So let's get right into it. You wanna start with 4 russet potatoes. Russet potatoes are the best to use for this because they're like a really starchy potato. So potatoes like yellow potatoes or red potatoes, they're more of like a waxy potato. So they're gonna hold on to moisture a lot more, and they're gonna make like a soggier kind of product. And we don't want that. We want it to be nice and dry. So start by grating these. All right, so this is 4 potatoes grated, and it's probably a bit too much. So yeah, 3 good-sized potatoes is gonna be enough. And then you just wanna transfer this into a bowl. And this is called a pastry scraper. I know I always get a few questions, Derek, what is that? And it's great if you do a lot of chopping and then have to move stuff into like a frying pan or something like that. Really handy to have, only a few bucks as well. So next, you want to rinse these, and it seems counterintuitive because you actually want to dry them out after, but rinsing them helps get rid of some of the excess starch, which allows it to crispen up. So it's all about getting it crispy, but we have to get it wet first. It seems weird. So you'll notice as you rinse it, the water starts to get a bit cloudy and a bit bubbly, and this is the excess starch that you want to get rid of. So discard that water, give it another rinse, and this should be enough to turn the water pretty clear. And then once you're there, just put it into a strainer, get off all the excess water that you can. You can even squeeze it between your hands a little bit. So for the next step, we need to get these even drier. You can stand over the sink and like squish them between your hands and try and get as much liquid out as you can. And I sometimes do that, but it's really like hard to do. So this is a much easier way. Get a nice clean dish towel. And this is another reason why you want to be using natural detergents. So then what I do is I just kind of spread it out on here, and then I roll it up like this. And then I just twist the towel like this. Twist it a few times. And this is gonna get all that excess moisture out. And then you just want to put this into a bowl because we're gonna be adding some seasoning next. It's kind of sometimes hard to like figure out how to do this without it like flying everywhere. There we go. All right, and then I'm gonna start with a bit of garlic powder and onion powder. You guys know it would not be a Simnett nutrition recipe without those two. So this is like 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon of onion powder, a few pinches of black pepper, and some chopped green onion. So of course this isn't necessary. I mean, none of the seasoning is if you don't want it, but it adds a really nice pop of color and also some good flavor to this too. So from here, you just wanna mix it up. I'm just using my hands because I'm just cooking for myself. So that's what we have now, and you can see it's pretty dry and pretty light, so this is gonna be really nice. It's gonna crisp up so well. All right, so next you wanna get yourself a nice big frying pan, and you wanna get it on the stove, preheat it to about medium to medium-low-ish heat. So I'm gonna be using this non-stick pan because like I'm not a magician, and if you want this to not stick and not use butter or oil, you kind of have to use a non-stick pan, or a well-seasoned cast iron pan would probably work as well. So I like to just like spread it around, but I don't pack it down, and just because that way it'll be like nice and light. So these are gonna cook on one side for 15 minutes. So definitely set a timer so that you don't forget. I'll show you guys how to tell when they're done. But this is a little bit longer than it takes if you were to cook it with some oil in it. And that's just because we're cooking it at a lower heat in order to like fully cook the potatoes through. When you cook with oil, you know, it's always kind of like bubbling and like kind of deep frying the food like as it cooks. So that's why, you know, things tend to cook a lot quicker if you cook them in oil. And you might have noticed I didn't add any salt to it. So I will add some salt because salt and potatoes is so good together. But I didn't add any salt yet because we know that salt draws water or moisture out of things. And if we were to season it right in the beginning and then do this, it would be almost like steaming it. And we don't want that. We want it to fry, so we want it to be nice and dry. So I know you guys probably don't think this if you made it this far in this video. However, a lot of people seem to think that potatoes are not very nutritious. They're not good for us. It's an empty carb. It's a white carb, just like white sugar. We should not be eating it. However, that is obviously not the case. And I just plugged 3 small potatoes, the russet potatoes, here into Chronometer just to see what kind of nutrition we would be getting from them. And check this out. So you obviously get a lot of fiber. There's 1/4 of your daily intake of fiber in there. It's extremely low in fat. You see that you get 11 grams of protein, so there's actually like, you know, fair amount of protein in potatoes. And then check out the B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6. It also has a good amount of folate, has some vitamin C, however, that's probably gonna be degraded as we cook it. And then look at the minerals like iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, even some zinc in there. So they're definitely not like an empty carb. I am a big fan of potatoes. All right, so it's been 15 minutes, and this is kind of how you tell when they're ready to be flipped, because you shake it, and it moves freely in the bottom of the pan. Until it's all like nicely browned on the bottom, it will not do this. So kind of nice that it, you know, kind of tells you. All right, so now it needs to be flipped, and if you're feeling confident, you can just like yeet it up into the air, and hopefully everything works out. However, it doesn't always do that for me, so I'm gonna do it this different way and show you guys how to do it successfully. So you can, if you want to do it like the real safest, easiest way, what you can do is like slide this onto a plate, get another plate, put it on top, flip it over, and then slide it back on there. However, this way is like a little bit quicker, and we also don't have 2 round plates like this. We only have 1 because we're like budget. So if you want to come in here, this is how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to put the plate over it like this. And if you don't have any oil or anything in here, you don't have to worry about it, you know, going on your wrist. But if you are worried about that, you can go like this, put a towel over your arm, because, you know, some hot stuff could kind of fall out of here. Flip it like that. Let's see. Oh, yes. Dang. And then, easy, just slide it right back. And then on this side, you just want to set the timer for 12 minutes. A little shorter than the last, but that's all it takes. So this does take a while to cook. I mean, it's probably half an hour start to finish, right? But doesn't mean you just have to like sit here and stare at the potatoes cooking. You could be cooking, and you should be cooking other things to maximize your time in the kitchen. You know, so you can make a quick tofu scramble. I have lots of videos on my channel how to make this. Roast some cherry tomatoes and some sauteed kale. You guys know you gotta get your greens in, and it's so easy to eat kale if you just wilt it down. And all I did with this is just put some everything bagel seasoning on there. It's really nice. Oh, wow. So let's check the crispiness. Wow. This is amazing. All right, let me plate this up. Taste it. Oh gosh. All right, so time to taste it. And you guys saw I salted it a little bit there, and usually I'll salt it like before I fold it up. I just forgot. So anyways, and then I'm also gonna pretend like I don't have this with like copious amounts of ketchup. I'm just gonna try it dry here for you guys. Oh, yeah. Wow, so yeah, it is amazing. Like, it's nice and crispy and light, and it is everything that you want a hash brown to be. And you're not gonna believe that this was made without oil. It's crazy, like it's still crispy right now. So cool. Well, not that crispy, but a little bit crispy. So I'm gonna go sit down and eat the rest of this and enjoy my breakfast for dinner. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that does that. I absolutely love having breakfast for dinner. And I think that's about it. So definitely let me know what you thought in the comments. Subscribe so you can see more from me. We can meet again, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Actually, it doesn't really matter because they don't even show you likes and dislikes anymore. But it helps me out. I like seeing those likes. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye-bye. All right, yo, check this out. Ow, burn my hand, I burn my wrist.